The Isaiah Davenport house was built by a master builder from New England named Isaiah Davenport, and he came to Savannah seeking his fortune after apprenticing carpentry up in New Bedford, Massachusetts. He arrived in 1809 and was here plying his trade, and after several years he built this house both as a family home but also as his catalog for his building skills. So it's a well done 1820s federal style house, and today it's a house museum. So we talk about both Isaiah Davenport when he lived here in the 1820s, and then our most important piece of our history is the fact in the 1950s this house was threatened with demolition, and a group of 7 ladies were thinking about how to save the old city. There were a number of important buildings that had been torn down, and this one was sort of the one that broke the camel's back. Well, no, it was really the city market that broke the camel's back. And then when that was torn down, this one came up for sale, and a lady who owned the funeral home across the street started the process to purchase the house with the implied intention to tear the house down. Everyone believed that with the purchase of this rundown tenement, which is what the house was in 1955, that it would have been an ideal location for a parking lot. And so this was the first effort of a group of people which became the Historic Savannah Foundation. So this represents a grassroots preservation organization that ushered in the preservation renaissance in Savannah in 1955. I grew up in rural eastern North Carolina in Bertie County, and there's a house museum called Hope Plantation, and of course it was 3 miles down the road from my home, and you pass it, and of course in the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of preservation by neglect in the rural South, and so you'd drive by houses that look really creepy. But this one was well maintained. It was the home of a governor, I think 1803, and it was right beside my middle school. And I just, thought, well, and I loved history. My parents taught public school, and I didn't think I wanted to do that. And so where else can you do history and for a lifetime, and people come to you as opposed to you having to beat it into kids, that they would say thank you, and so it just seemed logical. All over the United States, somehow, I don't understand it, but people don't go to house museums like they used to, and so we've had to figure out new ways to entice people in and new income streams. So, like all house museums, or many house museums, our garden is rented out for weddings, and that's not a bad thing. We were part of people's one of the most important moments in their lives. So, but that's a new avenue for us. But we've also had to heighten our programs. We do all kinds of programs after hours, before walking tours where we explore the neighborhood, which has been good for us. But it's not just, we can't just sit inside the house and hope people will come. We have to go get them. One of the fears that we have as house museum people is, well, people are going to decide that maybe a house museum is not the good purpose of a historic site. Now, what are they going to turn it into? A bed and breakfast, a meeting facility? And is that meeting the needs of people as far as understanding their community? I mean, don't they need people to tell the story, not just the building itself, but people in whatever guise and whatever media to tell the story of what happened? So, I mean, I'm just really believe in what historic house museums can do for people. I never dreamed that I could restore a house, but I did find that going to a house was accessible to me. It's accessible to anybody. I mean, there is admission to the Davenport house, but we do have free days, and there are other places in Savannah that have free days where people can come and learn about their community and how I think it lifts people up to understand the harsh stories as well as the inspiring stories. I mean, I think it enriches people's lives.